Welcome to Rhonda NP's Menopause Guide Podcast with Rhonda Jolliffe, nurse practitioner, hormone expert, and menopause mentor. Balance your menopause experience with natural solutions and regain control to live the life you love. Let's get started.
Hi, this is Chris Doctor with the Menopause Guide Podcast, and I am so glad that you're here today. Today, I'll be joined in just a minute by Rhonda and our very special guest, Dr. Mariza Snyder. She's an expert in essential oils, and she is going to share with us today all about the great essential oils that are good for you during menopause. Also, she has some terrific recipes that we asked her to share, and she does share those, and you can try those at home today. So let's get started. Well, great. We are live, so let's get going. We are so excited today to have a special guest, Dr. Mariza Snyder, here today to talk about essential oils. So I would love if you could go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Absolutely. So I am a functional practitioner with a background in biochemistry, certifications in nutrition and aromatherapy. And really, my big mission is to support women on their wellness journey around hormone health. And a big reason around that is two big reasons. One, I come from a lineage of hormone chaos. It started with my mother's mother, and my mom has dealt with hormone issues. My sister has dealt with hormone issues, and I have dealt with hormone issues. I'm actually at my mom's house with my sister, and we're all here actually working on hormone support right now, which is a lot of fun. I'm actually here to help them both out. But also what I had found in practice is that almost every woman who came in the door was exhausted. They were dealing with hormone issues, mood issues, inability to concentrate, and it all kind of dialed into what was going on with our endocrine system. And so it all just kind of came together for me to want to help women really get to that place where their body is working for them, where they've got that energy and vitality that they so deserve, and that we get to show up in the world the way that we want to show up, feeling incredible at the same time.
Great. Now you have a number of books out right now, and I'd love to have you talk really quickly about those. But today we're going to dive into essential oils, but I really want our listener to be able to understand where else she can find you and in your knowledge.
Absolutely. So definitely they can find me on my website, which is drmariza.com. But my books have kind of spanned the beginning. My first 5 books were on nutrition, because I absolutely believe that nutrition is the foundation of how we make the changes in our life. What we put into our bodies is either fueling us or causing us problems. And so that has been a big piece of educating people. And then the last book that I just came out with recently is going to be my Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils book. And a lot of people think that this book is about, and specifically for moms, but it really was for women. It can be any smart woman. And the purpose of the book was really to give women a non-toxic approach to taking care of personal care, cleaning, everyday emergencies, self-care rituals, emotional support, and then in the last chapter, hormone support, which is really where I shine. And so it was such a fun book to write. But just know that I always do believe that nutrition is foundational when it comes to helping us get our bodies back on track.
Right. Rhonda's a big proponent of that too.
Yeah, I'm a functional medicine practitioner as well. And that has been my foundation is nutrition. And then over time, as you, I'm sure, with essential oils kind of came into play and a lot of other things. But I have to tell you, I love the Smart Moms title. And the reason I love that is because I really believe that it's where moms that really start our whole healthcare journey. And I used essential oils on my boys when they were really young, and they're in their mid-20s now, and put them on their toes to just relax them. And they just loved it. And they would just ask for oils. And then there were football players, and then I'd give them some things before a game or whatever. And so I actually have been such a proponent of nutrition and oils. And I think it starts with the moms, kids, because then they grow up into a world that they're not relying on medications and going to the doctors, and they're using these things. And so I absolutely, when I saw that title, I'm like, I love it.
It's my favorite. I mean, I love the other books too. I do, but it's definitely my favorite book of them all, because it just makes life a little bit easier, especially in the landscape of having, like you said, learning how to make over your cleaning cabinet, having that owie blend ready, or having that muscle blend, and just feeling confident that they're not creating side effects. They're not toxic. They're not synthetic. I think it's what so many moms, what so many families are looking for. And I absolutely, truly agree with you that everything starts in the home. Everything starts with how we take care of our families. And that continues to carry on. That's how they think about living their life. My husband, his mother was an energy healer, and she used oils on him his entire life. So when I brought oils to the table, this was not at all anything new for him, because he had grown up with them. So it was such an easy thing to bring into the household, and to make a part of our life, because it was what he knew growing up, which is such a rarity.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So Mariza, if you could talk to our listener about essential oils, if they're brand new, why essential oils? Really, what do they do and how do they work?
Absolutely. So essential oils are volatile aromatic constituents. And these volatile aromatic constituents come from the plants from all over the world. Now, what we know about essential oils for plants is they help them to thrive and to survive in nature. But we also know that the chemical constituents, and they could be hundreds to thousands right now, that there's over 3,000 different chemical constituents, and we don't even know how all of them work inside of the body. There's so much new research coming out about essential oils. But what we do know is that they work with our own biochemistry. Just like you think about plant medicine as a whole, we think about eating blueberries or having kale, all those phytonutrients and antioxidants. Well, this is those wonderful plant medicine, those plant constituents. They're not nutrition, but they still work with our biochemistry to really help create powerful changes and cellular vitality. And so it depends on the oil. They all have different constituents. So I think about when I pick up, I have a wild orange right here. And this wild orange has limonene and mostly monoterpenes. We know that this wild orange is phenomenal for helping to boost the immune system. We know that it is great for uplifting and energizing the mind and the brain. We know it's great for helping to relieve stress. And for some people, this is really wonderful for helping to help go to sleep at night, because it kind of just shuts the brain down a little bit. Depends on the person's biochemistry. For me, this is the oil of abundance. I love this oil. I cannot be in a bad mood when I smell this oil. I love the powerful cleaning agent as well. So I think about all of the different ways you can use an oil. And goodness knows, a lot of women can use that on a day-to-day basis. And keeping it in aromatically. So I'm going to demonstrate that really. Breathe it in and just breathe. It is incredible. Not only that aromatherapy, the brain, particularly the limbic brain, with the amygdala, the hypothalamus, the hippocampus, but also all of those natural chemical constituents hit the lungs. And through the lungs, they went through the alveoli, the bloodstream, and there, our body's intelligence gets to decide what wild orange is going to be used for, which is so exciting. And I know that there's a lot of positive changes happening right now inside of my cells because I breathe that oil in. So that's just a little bit of a taste of what the oils can do, just given one oil in the spectrum of hundreds of oils.
So that being said, that's one of the things where someone who's new to essential oils may feel a little overwhelmed, and especially women that, we treat, or Rhonda treats, and we treat at Rhonda NP, and you also treat. How does she start? Where does she go? Because overwhelm, is another layer of stress already on top of us. So what would be your suggestion for how she could start?
Absolutely. So the easiest, like I mentioned, the easiest way to get started, definitely having a couple oils around, and we can talk about oils specifically around hormone health. I definitely have a top 5 oils for every mom. I have a top 5 oils for every woman out there. It just really depends on who we're going to focus on. But aromatherapy. So there are only 3 ways to use oils, no matter how many oils are out there, and technically 2 that are really considered the safest. The third way is going to be internal. You got to be mindful of internal, because not all oils can be internally consumed, and most companies out there are not safe to consume. So just to be mindful of that. The other 2 ways are going to be aromatic, and simply breathing in an oil like that, maybe putting it in the wrist to breathe it in on your wrist, or to have it going in a diffuser. So we have diffusers all over the house, and we run them. In the morning, we have uplifting and energizing oils like the wild orange, grapefruit, peppermint, Those are just some of my favorite uplifting oils. And then at night, we kind of bring it down a notch. We want to bring a more calming environment. And again, it's just adding 3 to 5 drops of an essential oil into a diffuser and letting it run for a couple of hours. And oils for at night would be lavender, cedarwood, Clary Sage, Bergamot, just the more calming oils that feature like esters and alcohols. So those would be the best. That'd just be the easiest way to get started. So I'm always a proponent of women getting a hold of a diffuser or just doing the technique that I did a minute ago, which we call direct application, direct aromatherapy application, where you just take a drop in your hand, rub your hands together and breathe it in and really begin to experience the power of aroma.
I just love your passion. It's so obvious. Oh, sorry. It is so obvious how passionate you are. And I just really feel blessed to have you today on our show, because I'm such a proponent of so many things, and I don't call myself an expert in essential oils at all. I use them, I promote them, but I don't call myself an expert. So it's so awesome to have an expert on the show today. So I really like that. And with that said, I got to ask you, because I can't really kind of pinpoint this down, but like I say, I've been using them for over 20 years. And it's like, I have to say about this last 5 years, it's just become this huge boom of so many people. Like my new patients are coming in and we get the med list, and then I always ask the essential oil list, because so many are on essential oils now. And why do you think that's become? I just want to hear it from the expert.
Absolutely. So I think just kind of one of the things that Rhonda and Christine, you had said was, we don't want it to be overwhelming. I think the number one reason why women are using essential oils today is because they are so easy to use. Now, for me, when I see families using them, oftentimes I'm always thinking about how can essential oils bridge the gap to creating the healthy lifestyles that we want, and for creating a non-toxic home, which is so many of us want to do. When we live in the world of crazy toxicity, to lessen our level of toxicity is huge. But it's ease. It's so easy to grab a peppermint oil if we've got a muscle ache or a headache. It's so easy to grab a citrus oil when we want a little bit of an energy boost. So easy to grab a lavender if we have a sunburn or we need to calm down or we need to kind of relax a little bit. It's just so easy, and it's just one drop. And so if you're like me, I have my little oil bag. I carry my little oil bag everywhere I go. And I've got about 10 to 12 oils in here, as many as I can shove in here, really, let's be honest. And I've got all of my emergency oils. So if someone's having a little bit of a tummy ache, then I pull out the peppermint. If someone needs a little bit of a, kind of a de-stressor, I've got my de-stress blend, my lavender, my bergamot, and my Clary Sage. I've got it all pre-mixed, ready to go in case someone's having a moment. If we have a situation where somebody is dealing with, a cough or a respiratory issue, I love peppermint for that too. And so I love that we can super easy grab whatever we need at any given moment and apply it either topically or breathe it in aromatically. And instantly, we're within about 2 to 3 minutes, most people start to get resolution on whatever that little situation is that's going on. So I think that's why they fell in love with them. Women want to become healers in their own home. They want to feel like they're empowered with their own natural solutions. And essential oils literally open the world for moms and women alike to create this for their families.
I totally agree. And like I say, everything I use, some people ask me, why do you recommend that, or why do you use that? And my answer is usually because it works. Yes. And that, I don't keep using things if they don't work. So with essential oils, you see results. Yes. Results. It's such a nice, safe way to have people have. I always term a toolbox. I tell my patients, I want you to have a toolbox. And in that toolbox, you should have this, 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 and this. And the essential oils are part of that toolbox for healing. And I do agree, people are kind of more aware of, and I think it could be the status of our healthcare system, that we're more aware that we have to take control of our own health, and what can we do to do that, to keep us out of the clinics and the hospital. So essential oils are such a great way to do that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been so much fun. And, being able to, I've exposed essential oils to well over 50,000 people now. And it's the testimonials that happen, the things that come in every single day, I mean, like daily. It's just so much fun to see women not only, women and moms not only feeling excited about how they're helping themselves, but also how they're really supporting their families. That is just such a powerful tool set to have. And that's exactly how I think of it as well, is how can we continue to incorporate these into your tool set so that you can feel really confident taking care of your family without being worried about the harmful chemicals and side effects that could happen when they're using something else.
Right, right.
Mariza, can you tell us what would be your top 5 essential oils for perimenopausal or menopausal women? And knowing that we don't have a very long attention span these days.
Absolutely. So I can definitely go into my top 5 oils, and I can also go into some recipes as well if you prefer. Totally up to you. So the number one oil I always think about when it comes to women in perimenopause and menopause is going to be Clary Sage. Clary Sage, we know, helps to balance estrogen and progesterone levels, helps to really work with the adrenals, particularly with those hormones, as well as our hormones are dropping off with our ovaries. We still are pulling some from our fat cells and pulling some from our adrenals. So I love that Clary Sage can come in and really support our hormone balance there. We also know that Clary Sage is very, very powerful for reducing stress levels. It's also great for helping to get us a restful night's sleep. So Clary Sage is one of my number one. Bergamot. Now, Bergamot is love and self-assurance, but we also know that it helps to create hormone balance, as particularly it helps to support the adrenals, but also helps to support progesterone levels. So I love Bergamot. I use it a lot. I use it for helping to reduce stress. I also use it for helping to support progesterone levels inside of the body. The next one is going to be ylang-ylang. Now, ylang-ylang is predominantly known as a natural aphrodisiac. Great for helping to boost estrogen levels. It's wonderful for also dealing with mood imbalances such as depression and anxiety. So I love ylang-ylang. It's a heart-centered oil, so I have women put it over their heart, but also they can put it on the bottom of their feet. They can make it into a massage oil because it's great for helping to boost wonderful like dopamine, serotonin, and it's great for helping to kind of get us in a more intimate mood. So I love ylang-ylang. And then the last one I love to feature is going to be thyme. And thyme, well, it's got this has thymol content. And what we know is that it can really help to balance out progesterone levels and could potentially help to even out estrogen levels during menopause and perimenopause. So I usually have women using this on the bottom of their feet with Clary Sage. So those would be my top 5 oils for perimenopause and menopause, and really for hormone balance overall. But I love to be able to go into recipes if that's what you would like as well, because I've got tons of recipes to share. Okay, so the first one I want to share is going to be a stress blend. I mentioned that just a moment ago. But what I do is, so I often have a lot of empty bottles laying around, but you can just do this just one drop at a time. As a woman who is on the go and super busy, I like to pre-make my blends. So that way, when I need to have it ready, I just have it. Now, this is my Stress Buster blend. What I normally recommend is doing 20 drops of each of these oils into a roller bottle, or like a little roller bottle blend. It's like a roller bottle, or into just a empty 10 ml bottle. So it's going to be 20 drops of bergamot, 20 drops of lavender, and then it can be 20 drops of ylang-ylang, or it can be frankincense. So frankincense is a little bit more expensive. It's powerful and incredible. Absolutely worth every penny of it. However, if indeed frankincense seems to be a little bit out of the price point, I would use ylang-ylang. And what you're doing is you're just going to mix them all up in an empty bottle, have it ready to go. And I just take 1 to 2 drops, put it on my hands, and I do this technique called the power of the pause. I was taught this technique a couple years ago. Oftentimes women tell me they don't have time to de-stress. but I always say we all have about 30 minutes. And I love the technique, or when you need a great technique to reset the system. So you take 2 drops. If I would just grab the wild orange again, just as a pretend, I just take 2 drops of this like that. And what I'm going to do, kind of similar to the breath I took earlier, but we're going to pause for 3 seconds. So I'm going to take a deep breath. And I usually have women do the pause 3 to 5 times. Takes less than a minute to do it. Completely resets our cortisol levels. It resets our heart rate. It resets everything. It literally takes us out of sympathetic nervous system mode, which is that fight or flight, and can reset stress like that. It's the fastest way I know how to do that. When we compare that breathing technique with essential oils, it is very, very powerful. Now, the next blend I want to share with you is actually in my book. It's called the Superwoman Blend. Now, this is my hormone synergy blend. I love it. And I have shared my Superwoman Blend with thousands of women all over the country. I just recently was at an event and I had 10 separate women come up to me and they were just like, oh my God, your Superwoman Blend is everything to me. It was so sweet because it's like my hormone synergy. So it's out of my book. It's the Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oils. So I'm just going to pull it up for you really quickly. Now, this is going to be in a roller bottle. Roller bottles are so easy to get your hands on. Amazon, you can literally just type in roller bottles. You want a 10 ml roller bottle, and what you're going to do is you are going to find, there it is. It's going to be 12 drops of Clary Sage. Do you remember Clary Sage is that hormone balancing oil? Next is going to be 10 drops of cedarwood. Then it's going to be 5 drops of geranium, 10 drops of lavender, 5 drops of cedarwood, 5 drops of geranium, and 4 drops of ylang-ylang. So I will repeat it one more time. So I apologize, I messed that up. So 12 drops of Clary Sage. Yeah, 12 drops of Clary Sage, 10 drops of lavender, 5 drops of cedarwood, 5 drops of geranium, and 4 drops of ylang-ylang. And what you're going to do is you're going to add they don't have to go in any particular order. You're just going to add them all into the roller bottle. And then you're going to top it off with whatever carrier oil that you prefer. So it could be coconut oil. It could be jojoba oil, grapeseed oil, almond oil. Honestly, get in where you fit in. I love the fractionated coconut oil. And then the places you're going to put it is going to be what I call the pulse point. So I love it on the wrist. So I love to add it on the wrist. I love to do it right behind the ear. I love to do it on the temples as well, because this is not only a blend for hormone balance, but it's also a phenomenal blend for reducing stress levels, for helping to support the adrenals. So you can put it on the back over your adrenals. You can put it on the bottom of your feet. You can put it on your ankles, because your ankles are that meridian point for your ovaries. And I am all about path of least resistance. So you can actually just roll it right over the ovaries as well to stimulate them, to make sure that they're functioning right for you. So any way, get in where you fit in. Those are all of my favorite ways to use it. Now, this is my Superwoman Blend. I'm such a recycler. So I love to recycle my old bottles and then just fill up with new oils. And so this is actually my Superwoman Blend, and it smells so incredible, so amazing. But it's my go-to like rocket blend. And so once I put it on, I usually do my power woman stance, Superwoman, right? So I get into my power woman stance. I can't really do it here, but I got my hands on my hips. I stand and I just breathe in. I just own my Superwoman moment. And it just resets everything inside, right? I got more energy. I'm more fueled up. I'm more powered up to really just show up in the world, get what I need to get done, and do all of let's be honest, the thousands of things that I've got to do that day. And so it's a part of my morning ritual.
Awesome. Can you mention really quick, for people that are new to essential oils, what's a carrier oil and why is that important? Because we know why, but someone who's new might not understand that.
Absolutely. So a carrier oil is so essential oils are not oils. They're just lipophilic. So they're fat loving. That's what that means. And a carrier oil is actually a fat-based oil. So think of olive oil or avocado oil. That's going to be an oil that's going to dilute the oil. So my Superwoman Blend is a 20 to 25% concentration. And so I know there was a question that a lot of people love to ask me, which is, how can we determine can you overuse them? Is it, can you use too much of the oils? And yes, you can. You could spill an oil on you, and that is way too much oil. So I usually say for adults, you're usually averaging 20 drops a day of oil. Now, when you're diluting that changes. We're talking about 20 drops of full concentration. But for the most part, I'm usually diluting oils when I'm using them. So the book does a great job of going through dilutions. All the recipes are pre-diluted. But for children, especially, I start them at a 1 to 2% dilution. And as we get older, it moves up to 10 to 25% dilution, depending on the oil. So yes. And the reason why we don't want to use too much is that our bodies just don't need it. Right? It's like, eating too many blueberries or taking too much vitamin C, right? Let's say we do, 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C, we're probably going to just send out what we don't use. It's the same kind of concept. So I just don't believe in overusing your oils or wasting your oils. And so for children, we always want to be diluting between 1% and 10%. And for adults, anywhere between 10 and 25%. And the way to do that is, when it comes to topical, is to patch test, to kind of see on your body kind of where, if indeed an oil is too strong, you're going to get a little bit of a sensitivity. And that's when you know that you should dilute it even more. And you just kind of play with that. But that's usually our rule of thumb, 10% to 25% for adults and 1% to 10% for children up to 17.
Great.
Thank you for sharing that, because I think so many people think just because they're natural and they're safe that they can't be overdone. And I know for sure that they can. I've seen it in a few patients that didn't dilute, and they were doing 10 drops on their hand of different oils, like 10, 20 times a day. And I actually had one patient that her liver enzymes went up quite significantly, and I couldn't figure out why they were going up. And then all of a sudden I asked her, how are you using your essential oils? And she told me. And so we backed that down. I said, you always have to use dilution, and her liver enzymes came down fine. So that was just the body's way of, it was trying to fight off too much of something. So anything that's really powerful and really good for you, if it's not used correctly, or if you're overusing, I do believe that it can harm you as well. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Yeah, we do have a lot of people who get very overzealous about using their oils. And I don't think that they recognize that they are so powerful, and a little goes a long way. And so people just start kind of dousing themselves with them, because we live in a world of supersize everything, right? And so we're like, I've got to supersize my oils. And you think about one little drop, it's just so teeny. And, that's why a big reason why we love the carrier oils, one, it allows the oils to absorb more quickly into the skin, but also it gives us a bigger surface area to cover. So let's say someone is dealing with something in the back, like low back. You would need a lot of drops of wintergreen and peppermint to cover the entire back area. And that would be way too many essential oil drops, way too high of a concentration. So using a carrier oil really allows us to take that 1 to 2 drops and spread it. So I always say, especially for adults, dilute. It's not too often that you're using the essential oils neat. There are definitely oils that can be used neat. Lavender and frankincense are two of those oils. But again, always dilute first, and you can increase the concentration over time if indeed you're not finding it to be as effective as you're looking for.
Sure. And with oils too, what I find is so many of them carry some of the same constituents. So you can get results of any oil. Even just starting with peppermint oil, it just carries so many benefits that even just starting with that, you can get a lot of relief from many things. So that's what I find the most interesting about oils is you read about them. It's like, oh, it has this, and this, and so does this oil. And it's really cool because there's so many uses for each one of them. I
always tell for smart moms, or if you're just looking to make over the entire home, you can do it with 3 oils: lemon, peppermint, and lavender. That's it. You can do so much. There's like literally probably a good 500 ways to use those 3 oils. Not to be overwhelmed, but just know that as long as you've got those 3, now those aren't my magic women oils, but you can really do a lot. So you're going to see in my little emergency bag, I have those 3 oils at any given time on me, because pretty much I can make a lot of magic happen with those 3 oils.
Right. Very good.
That's great. That's great. Well, is there any last thing that you'd like to say, Mariza, in terms of what people should know or take away from our conversation today? We'll definitely have in our show notes on our website links to your site so people can check that out.
Absolutely. So a couple of things. One, I just want people to feel really confident. I know that there's so many women out there ready to get started with essential oils. I just want you to know that there's a lot of great information out there. I don't want you to be scared about using them, but just be mindful that they are very powerful and they're functional. I think the big message for me is that my big mission is to really create a lot of healers inside of the home. And the number one tool set that I love for that is using essential oils. And if you wanted to get started and you didn't know where to get started, a big reason why I wrote the Smart Mom's Guide to Essential Oil book was exactly for that purpose. I had so many moms, so many women coming to me saying, I've got all these oils, I have no idea what to do with them. I wanted to make it feel so easy, like give you the exact recipe, the exact solution. I've got my top 25 list in there, which I know is more for the enthusiast, but so much fun. So if indeed you were looking to get started, I think that that's such a great book. Some of the books out there can feel more like an encyclopedia than they can be for a getting started guide. I wanted it to read like a getting started guide. And then the very last thing I wanted to share was my energy booster blend. So if you guys were okay with that, because
please.
I know needs more energy. I don't know how that escaped us today. So
I think our listeners will appreciate that one.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're going to let me share it. So it is just, you guys saw me use the wild orange today, right? So it's 1 drop of wild orange, 1 drop of peppermint in your hands, breathing them in, and then taking that oil and then just rubbing it on the back of your neck, letting that kind of kick in. But that's all it is. It's just those 2 oils, taking those 3 to 5 deep belly breaths. That is going to reset, energize the mind, just open up the lungs and really give you that extra energy boost so that you're not reaching for that candy. You're not reaching for the Frappuccino or whatever it is in the middle of the day. And you can pre-mix that blend as well. So you can do a 1-to-1 ratio, already pre-ready, make it your energy blend and just pull it out at any given moment where you need that extra energy. So I wanted to just share that bonus blend with you very quickly. And it's just 2 oils, so very easy to use.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually, when I was back in graduate school over 20 years ago now, I used peppermint oil when I wanted to study. I didn't know about the orange back then, that it would do that great a thing. So darn it, I wish I would have had that. I'll have my kids try that.
Yeah, it's just like a big power boost because you've got the peppermint, and then the orange is that yummy mood boosting synergy to combine with it. It's just extra amazing.
Great.
So I love the combination.
Great. Oh, that's an awesome, simple and awesome.
Well, great. Well, great. Well, thank you again for being here. We really appreciate that you shared everything. And for our listeners, we will put things on our website to link to Dr. Mariza so you can get all her wonderful tips and tricks and look at her books because they're terrific. So thank you so much.
And I want to thank you as well. And for those of you that have to jump right in, I believe you can get your book right on Amazon.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
And then certainly at your site. So that would be great. I thank you again for sharing all your knowledge and expertise. And it's just a joy having you here today.
Thank you so much, ladies, for having me. I love sharing this and I love opening the world to these wonderful tools. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Terrific.
Thanks
a lot.
Thanks for joining the Menopause Guide Podcast with Rhonda NP. You'll find the show notes and other valuable information at our website, rhondanp.com. Don't worry about this menopause thing. You've got this.